The deepest struggle in the season of waiting is the crushing weight of silence. You have prayed until your voice was hoarse, you have knocked until your knuckles bled, and the only reply you received was the echo of your own request. You began to internalize that silence, twisting it into a narrative of rejection. God has denied me. He has forgotten me. My request was too small, or perhaps my faith was too weak. This is the enemy's great lie, the deception that poisons hope and paralyzes your future. Hear my voice clearly right now. The silence was not denial, I was listening. I want you to discard the notion that silence means indifference. My presence is not always thunder, sometimes, it is the profound stillness of the waiting room. I assure you, I heard the very first whisper of your desire, and I heard the agonizing sigh of your deepest disappointment. I have not forgotten the covenant I made with you, and I have not overlooked the faith you have struggled to maintain. My listening is not passive, it is active and intentional. Every prayer you offered was recorded, catalogued, and responded to, not always with the immediate delivery you desired, but with a deliberate, sovereign strategy designed entirely for your good and my glory. The delay you experienced was a necessity, not an accident. I was orchestrating circumstances, preparing the environment, and perhaps, most importantly, preparing you for the magnitude of the answer that is now on its way. If I had answered your prayer when you first asked, the gift would have overwhelmed you, or it would have been compromised by conditions that were not yet ready. The silence you felt was the necessary quiet of the master builder at work, laying a deeper foundation, removing unseen obstacles, and aligning stars and hearts that needed to be in place for your breakthrough to be secure and lasting. I ask you to re-examine the period of silence. Was it empty, or was it a crucible? You believe you were merely waiting, but I tell you, you were being formed. You were growing roots that you did not know you needed. Your character was being strengthened in ways that easy access never could achieve. The moments of deepest spiritual wrestling, when you had to choose to believe me despite the evidence, were the most powerful moments of your journey. Those choices validated your faith more than any immediate answer could have. Therefore, shed the guilt and the false condemnation. Stop believing that your lack of immediate response was a sign of your lack of worth. It was, instead, a sign of my great care for you, confirming that I am not just a temporary fix but the eternal source of all good things. The silence was not denial, it was the sacred space where true faith matures. I was listening, I was preparing, and I was protecting you. Now, that season of deep quiet is ending, and the sound of my response is about to break through the stillness. Prepare to receive what I held back, knowing that the timing is perfect, the delivery is safe, and the blessing is secured because you endured the period when you could hear nothing but your own hopeful heart. I have heard you, and I am responding now. The wait was not wasted. Trust in my perfect, active silence. The pain of waiting is often compounded by the invisible sorrow you carry. The world sees your public smile, your perseverance, and your commitment, but only I see the quiet moments when the burden was too heavy, when hope felt like a fleeting memory, and when you cried out in raw, unchecked despair. This leads to the profound truth I want to impress upon your heart today. Your tears have been stored, I counted every drop. I have not dismissed your heartache as trivial, nor have I ignored the frustration born of delay. Every tear you shed in private, the tears of exhaustion, the tears of disappointment, the tears of intercession for others, was collected and preserved. Your sorrow is a treasure in my kingdom, not because I delight in your pain, but because your pain is a sacred testimony to your endurance, your vulnerability, and your relentless refusal to let go of hope. I want you to understand that those tears are not just a record of your suffering, they are a vital ingredient in the breakthrough I am sending you now. They have washed the ground, fertilized the seed of your hope, and prepared the soil of your heart to receive a harvest far richer than you can imagine. Never underestimate the power of your honest lament. When you pour out your heart before me, you are not complaining, you are engaging in the highest form of worship, the worship of raw truth. You trusted me enough to show me the depth of your wound, and that trust is rewarded. The world values stoicism and composure, but I value authenticity and brokenness. Your tears are evidence that you care deeply, that you risked your heart on a prayer, and that you remained faithful even when the expected outcome failed to materialize. Now, I am turning the tables. The tears that marked your waiting will now mark your testimony. The very sorrow that threatened to break you will become the source of your deepest, most profound joy. I am redeeming every moment of anguish. I am not simply stopping the tears, I am giving you a reason to celebrate so loudly and profoundly that the memory of the pain becomes a distant echo of a battle already won. I am responding now, and my response is directly proportional to the depth of the trial you have endured. I have seen the cost of your waiting, and my recompense will be generous. Therefore, do not hide the memory of your tears. Let them serve as a reminder that I was with you in the darkest valley. They prove that your faith was real, tested, and found worthy. I know exactly how many nights you lay awake wrestling with doubt and uncertainty. I know the exact moment when you felt you could not take another step. And I was there, counting every single drop, storing them not to remind you of your failure, but to guarantee your coming victory. Your waiting was not wasted, because the investment of your tears has secured a harvest of unprecedented joy. Prepare your heart to turn those tears into dancing, for the season of sorrow is lifting, and the season of abundant response is breaking through the darkness. The God who counts the stars also counts your tears, and now, He responds. The human mind demands immediate causality, effort should immediately equal reward. When the reward is delayed, we assume error, an error in our effort, an error in our worth, or an error in the divine plan. This is where we fail to grasp the deeper, multidimensional reality of my orchestration, which leads us to understand the purpose of the delay, why it had to be this long. Your waiting period was not punitive, it was constructive. It was a crucial, necessary phase designed to ensure the integrity, longevity, and stability of the blessing you are about to receive. The simple truth is that you were not ready for the answer when you first asked for it. Perhaps your character was still too brittle, your foundations were too shallow, or your focus was still too centered on the gift rather than the giver. The delay forced you to shift your reliance from your own strength to my absolute sovereignty. It stripped away the expectation of easy entitlement and replaced it with profound, hard-earned gratitude. Consider the analogy of a harvest. If a farmer pulls the seed from the ground too early, he gets a root, not fruit. The vast, unseen labor happens beneath the soil, in the darkness of the waiting. The delay allowed your spiritual roots to grow deep, capable of anchoring you when the wind of the blessing finally comes. Many who receive quick answers are soon undone by them because they lack the spiritual depth to sustain the prosperity, the position, or the relationship they desired. The delay, therefore, was an act of profound mercy, preventing a premature breakthrough that would have ultimately led to collapse. Furthermore, I needed the time to prepare the answer itself. I was aligning external factors, moving people, shifting financial markets, changing laws, or waiting for the precise convergence of events that guarantees the absolute best outcome for you. You were praying for a good answer, I was orchestrating a perfect one. The integrity of your blessing required time. The longer the wait, the more spectacular the testimony will be. The delay is the very thing that will make your final story powerful, because it highlights the necessity of my hand and the power of my timing. The delay was a demonstration of my trustworthiness, proving that I am more concerned with your ultimate well-being than your immediate comfort. Stop viewing the waiting as a mistake and start viewing it as a masterful preparation. Every month, every week, every day of the delay served a singular, indispensable purpose, to maximize the glory of your testimony and secure the permanence of your breakthrough. You had to learn to trust my clock, not the clock of the world. You had to learn that my no, or not yet, is just as much a communication of love as my yes. Now that the deep work is complete, the internal fortitude is established, and the external circumstances are aligned, the delay is lifting. The time allocated for preparation is over. Stand ready, for the answer you receive now will be sustained by the roots forged in the silence, proving that the purpose of the delay was your ultimate triumph. The season of delay often feels like a spiritual examination, a prolonged period of trial with no clear end date. This feeling is accurate, for your waiting was indeed the test of patience. You passed the wilderness season. The wilderness is not a place of punishment, it is a laboratory for testing the sincerity and depth of faith. The true measure of your discipleship is not how you praise me in the mountaintop experience, but how you follow me through the dry valley. Patience, as defined in my kingdom, is not passive resignation, it is active, tenacious hope in the face of contrary evidence. It is the spiritual muscle that refuses to let go of the promise even when all five senses scream that the promise is dead. You endured the difficult trial of sustained uncertainty. You chose, daily, to believe that my nature is good, even when my actions seem slow or incomprehensible. That sustained, costly choice to remain faithful despite the delay is the evidence of your past test. You have proven that your relationship with me is based on my character, not merely on my gifts. This endurance is the gold refined in the fire. The wilderness season forced you to confront the idols of immediacy and control. You had to surrender your need for instant gratification and acknowledge that I alone govern time and outcome. You had to learn that the satisfaction of your soul does not come from the answer itself, but from the intimacy forged with me during the pursuit of the answer. This is the ultimate lesson of the wilderness, and you mastered it. Had you failed the test of patience, had you become bitter, resentful, or had you walked away from the covenant, the breakthrough I now hold for you would have been dangerous to deliver. You would not have possessed the humility to receive it or the gratitude to steward it properly. The test of patience ensured that your heart was fully prepared to handle the magnitude of the blessing without being destroyed by it. Now, because you remain faithful in the face of the unknown, the verdict is in, you passed the wilderness season. You did not just survive, you grew. You did not just wait, you overcame. Your reward is not merely the answer to your original prayer, but the character and spiritual maturity you gained while you were waiting for it. That maturity is the true, imperishable treasure. Because you passed the test, I can now move with absolute confidence in your life. I can entrust you with greater responsibility, greater provision, and greater favor, knowing that the foundation is stable. I am now dismantling the obstacles that kept you in that dry place. The time of wandering is over. You have exited the wilderness with the proof of your endurance etched into your soul. Stand tall, for the very place that was meant to break you is now your greatest testimony to my sustaining grace. Your patience was not wasted, it was the price of admission to this new, abundant season. This moment marks a monumental spiritual transition in your life. The heavy, pressurized atmosphere of delay and disappointment is lifting, and a clear, exhilarating vision is breaking through the clouds. Understand this, a new chapter begins, the verdict has changed. The verdict that hung over your life, the verdict of delay, not yet, or silence, has been removed by my sovereign decree. The calendar of your breakthrough has been activated, and the time for waiting is now officially over. This is not a gradual shift, this is a decisive change in the atmosphere surrounding you. You may still feel the inertia of the past season, the residual fear and doubt, but you must align your spirit with the new reality I am proclaiming over you. The chapter of endurance is closed, the chapter of demonstration is opening. The promises you have held on to for so long are no longer future hopes, they are present realities, ready for physical manifestation. The waiting period served its purpose, it secured your character and prepared your environment. Now, the preparation gives way to the performance. The reason the verdict has changed is entirely because of my faithfulness, validated by your perseverance. I am now reversing the circumstances that caused you pain. I am redeeming the time you felt you lost. I am transforming the very obstacles that blocked your path into stepping stones for your advancement. The word I speak over you today is now. This is the season of instantaneous response. Be alert, for the manifestation may come in a form you did not anticipate, through a person you did not expect, or at a speed that will shock your logical mind. Do not look back at the chapter you just closed with regret. Look forward to the chapter 1 I'm writing now with absolute expectancy. This new chapter requires a new posture. You must shed the mindset of the beggar and assume the posture of the inheritor. Stop speaking the language of delay and start speaking the language of receiving. Your faith must shift from believing that I can do it to knowing that I have already done it. The verdict has changed, which means the rules of the game have changed in your favor. Where there was resistance, there is now flow. Where there was limitation, there is now abundance. Where there was sickness, there is now healing. The new chapter is defined by speed, favor, and overwhelming testimony. Therefore, celebrate the close of the old chapter and embrace the new one with courage and profound gratitude. Your waiting was not wasted, but purposeful, and now that purpose culminates in a glorious declaration. Your time of struggle is ending, and the era of my manifest response is beginning now. This is your season. You felt paralyzed during the waiting, believing that time was simply passing you by, that your life was on hold while the rest of the world moved forward. You felt a deep sense of frustration, seeing no visible progress on the mountain you were commissioned to climb. But I tell you now, that perception was entirely false. Even in your deepest sense of stagnation, my work was accelerating beneath the surface. I want to reveal to you what I was building while you waited. You were praying for a harvest, but I was building a massive, fortified barn to hold the blessing securely. Your waiting was a season of divine construction, often unseen because the most critical work happens underground, in the foundations. While you worried about the visible walls, I was ensuring the bedrock of your future was impervious to the storms. I was building 3 things that are essential for the breakthrough I am now delivering. First, I was building character stability within you. The blessing you are about to receive is immense, and quick prosperity can often destroy an unprepared soul. The delay built humility, dependence, and the deep roots of gratitude that will sustain the abundance. Second, I was building strategic alignment in your environment. The breakthrough you needed required countless external factors to shift. Hearts had to change, doors had to close in other places, and unseen enemies had to be moved out of the way. I was orchestrating 1,000 details, the precise moment, the perfect contact, the exact necessary resource, that could not be rushed. You were waiting for the light to turn green, but I was rebuilding the entire intersection to ensure your safe, smooth passage. Third, I was building a testimony of endurance for others. Your struggle was not just for you, it was a script for thousands who will read your story. I needed your experience to be deep and long enough to provide credible hope to others who are currently in the wilderness you just left. Your waiting period created the weight and authenticity of the message you are now commissioned to deliver. Stop thinking of the waiting as downtime. It was the most productive season of your life, defined by intense, foundational, non-visible construction. I was laying the pipeline for your provision, securing the structure of your destiny, and forging the weapon of your testimony. Now, the foundation is set, the alignment is complete, and the structure is ready. The season of construction is over, and the time for occupying the new building has arrived. Step out of the frustration and step into the certainty that your waiting was merely my intensive building phase. What I built for you in the quiet will endure for a lifetime, proving that your hope was not misplaced, but perfectly timed. The most valuable asset you gained during your time in the wilderness was not the answer to your prayer itself, but the inner fortitude and resilience that prepared you to handle the answer. This is the strength forged in the quiet seasons. When you look back, you may see only hardship and scarcity, but I see a spiritual athlete who has passed an intensive training regimen. You entered the quiet season relying on your own resources, your friends, and your comfort. You exited that season relying solely on my word and my character. That shift in dependence is the strength that was forged. The quiet seasons are essential because they strip away the noise and the false supports, leaving you with the only support that is truly immovable, my constant presence. The strength I gave you is not a strength for mere survival, it is the strength for dominion. It is the capacity to steward prosperity without arrogance, to face adversity without collapse, and to maintain humility in the face of great favor. Had the answer arrived too soon, you would have attributed the victory to your own effort or luck. The delay ensured that when the breakthrough comes, you will instantly recognize that the power source is me alone. This recognition is the anchor of your future success. Every time you chose to worship when you felt desolate, every time you chose to hope when you felt despair, you were lifting spiritual weights. The silence was the forge, the hardship was the hammer, and your faith was the steel that I shaped. That strength is now your greatest asset. It is the proof that you will not crumble under the weight of the blessing that is coming. It is the guarantee that your testimony will not be a flash in the pan but a lifelong beacon of faithfulness. I am responding now, and my response comes with challenges that require this newfound strength. You are ready to handle the pressure, the visibility, and the responsibility because of the endurance you gained in the quiet season. Embrace this strength. Let go of the weakness you felt while waiting. You are no longer the same person who began that season. You are tested, proven, and powerfully equipped. The strength forged in the quiet seasons is your certification for the great mission ahead. The story of Lazarus is the perfect blueprint for understanding my strategic delays, illustrating the Lazarus Principle: delay leads to greater glory. Lazarus was sick, and his sisters sent word to me, knowing I had the power to heal him instantly. Yet, I deliberately waited, delaying my arrival until Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. Human logic and compassion demanded immediacy, but my divine strategy required delay. The principle is this: I allow situations to deteriorate past the point of human hope, not to cause pain, but to ensure that when I finally intervene, the result is so undeniably miraculous that all glory belongs to me alone. If I had arrived before Lazarus died, the outcome would have been a healing, a great event, but still a lesser miracle. By waiting 4 days, I turned the healing into a resurrection. I transformed the good event into the greatest possible testimony. Your waiting season was governed by this same principle. The situation you were praying about, the sickness, the financial crisis, the broken relationship, I allowed it to reach its absolute lowest point, past the ability of doctors, lawyers, or banks to fix. You felt that I was late, that the promise had died, and that the situation was now impossible. That feeling of impossibility was the precise moment I was waiting for. When I respond now, it will not be a simple patch-up or a minor improvement, it will be a full-scale resurrection. It will be an undeniable, irrefutable act of my power that will silence the critics and inspire your faith like never before. The delay you experienced was directly proportional to the magnitude of the glory I intend to reveal. I was ensuring that the final answer would not just solve the problem, but utterly obliterate it, leaving behind a lasting monument to my ability to do the impossible. Your life is about to shift from a story of struggle to a story of resurrection. The delay was your opportunity to prove your endurance, the response is my opportunity to prove my limitless power. The Lazarus Principle guarantees that the breakthrough you are receiving now is not just a blessing, but a glorious testament. Do not mourn the death of the promise, rejoice in the coming resurrection, which will be infinitely more glorious than the initial healing you requested. Your waiting was not wasted, it was the necessary setup for your biggest miracle. During the prolonged wait, your hope was under constant, aggressive assault. Doubt whispered lies about your worthiness, fear painted pictures of catastrophic failure, and weariness begged you to simply surrender and walk away from the covenant. Yet, here you are, still standing. You may not feel victorious, but I want to testify to you, I protected your hope when you almost gave up. You were not fighting that battle for your faith alone, I was actively defending your hope in the unseen realm. I sent subtle confirmations, a timely word from a friend, a verse that jumped off the page, or a sudden, unexplained wave of peace that kept you from making the fatal decision to quit. These were my covert operations, the unseen defenses I put around your heart to ensure that the seed of the promise did not die while the soil was dry. I know the exact moment when you stood at the precipice of despair, when your logical mind told you that letting go was the only rational choice. In that very second, I infused you with the quiet, persistent strength to hold on for one more day, one more week, one more month. That endurance was not your own, it was my active intervention. Your waiting was not wasted because I used that time to refine your spiritual armor and teach you to distinguish my voice from the enemy's noise. I did not just protect the promise, I protected the capacity within you to receive the promise. If your hope had died, the blessing would have arrived to an empty, closed heart, incapable of receiving the gift. Because I guarded your hope, you are now spiritually vibrant, ready to embrace the abundance. This protection was a costly act of love, proving my deep commitment to your destiny. I intervened subtly because I needed you to exercise your free will to choose faith over fear, even when I was silent. You chose me, and I honored that choice by protecting your most vulnerable asset, your expectation for good. Now, the season of covert operations is over. The defense turns into the offense. The protection gives way to the provision. I am responding now, and the hope I protected in the darkness will now be illuminated by the spectacular answer I deliver. Look at the strength in your heart, that is the evidence of my defense. Now, allow that renewed hope to propel you forward, because the period of fighting to believe is over, and the time for receiving is here. The greatest misconception about waiting is that nothing is happening. But I assure you, spiritual reality follows the laws of agriculture, effort and time are never truly wasted. I want you to look at your life right now and see that the seed you planted is finally breaking ground. Every prayer you prayed, every act of faithfulness you performed, every difficult choice you made to trust me instead of worry, these were seeds planted in the soil of your destiny. For a long time, you saw only the barren earth, the hard-packed silence, and you feared the seeds had rotted. But the waiting period was simply the germination phase, the necessary time for the seed to draw nutrients and develop the deep, robust root system required to bear heavy fruit. Now, I am bringing the rain, and the evidence of your patient labor is emerging. The breakthrough you feel stirring in your spirit is the shoot breaking through the soil. The manifestation is now inevitable. The principles you learned in the quiet, patience, faith, and persistence, were the nourishment for that seed. This is why your waiting was not wasted. The quality of the harvest is directly tied to the quality of the soil and the duration of the rooting process. The seed that is breaking ground now is not just the answer to one small prayer, it is the total fulfillment of a long-term promise. It will manifest not only in the area you were praying about, but also in surrounding areas of your life, creating a multifaceted blessing. This emerging life demands a change in your behavior. You must stop mourning the seed and start celebrating the shoot. You must shift your language from waiting to harvesting. Stop digging up the ground to check if the seed is still there. Trust that the life I promised is now emerging visibly. The breakthrough is already secured beneath the surface, your current task is simply to tend the field and prepare to reap. This is the moment to walk with anticipation, knowing that the principles of my kingdom are absolute. You honored me with your perseverance, and I am now honoring you with my response. The time for planting is done. The seed you planted is finally breaking ground, and the abundance of your harvest is directly proportional to the length and depth of the roots forged in the season of delay. Step into the light and witness the manifestation of the life I promised you. The time of quiet preparation and long endurance has expired. The period of "not yet" has ended. I am now declaring a decisive, immediate shift in the reality of your circumstances. Hear the proclamation from my throne, the hour of your response. I am intervening now. I am not planning to intervene tomorrow, next week, or when circumstances finally align. I am intervening at this very moment, breaking into your timeline with sovereign authority. This shift is sudden, undeniable, and irreversible. The spiritual climate around you is changing from resistance to reception, from delay to delivery. The reason I am telling you this now is so that you align your expectation with my action. Stop praying for the future answer, and start celebrating the present intervention. The work of waiting is done, the work of receiving is beginning. This intervention will manifest in ways that defy human logic and accelerate your destiny beyond any timetable you could have imagined. I am collapsing timelines, clearing obstacles, and bringing forth resources that were previously unattainable. The financial provision you needed, the healing that was delayed, the relational restoration you sought, all of these are now being released into the visible realm. This is my promise. The delay was not a sign of my reluctance, but a sign of my careful, strategic love. I needed the moment to be absolutely perfect for your greatest triumph. Now, that perfect moment has arrived. Do not let the inertia of the past hold you back. The burden of frustration, the memory of disappointment, and the voice of doubt must be silenced, because the King of Glory is actively moving on your behalf. This is the hour when the silence turns into sound, when the darkness turns into undeniable light, and when the closed door turns into a wide-open passage. Your waiting was a necessary endurance, but your next step is a triumphant stride. The key to receiving this intervention is simple faith and absolute certainty. Do not allow the physical evidence to contradict the spiritual reality I am declaring over you. I am intervening now. Receive this word, step into the reality of my immediate power, and witness the irreversible change I am enacting in your life from this moment forward. This is the hour of your response. You have stood at the entrance of your destiny, feeling the crushing weight of impossibility, similar to those who stood before the tomb of Lazarus. You knew the power was available, but the obstacle seemed too massive, too permanent, too final. But I tell you, just as I commanded the removal of the stone, I am declaring over your life right now, the stone is rolled away, see what I have done. The stone represents the final, immovable barrier that stood between you and your breakthrough, the diagnosis that was irreversible, the debt that seemed too large, the loss that seemed final. You could not roll it away, and no human effort could move it. But my power supersedes human limitation and natural law. I have intervened, and the stone of impossibility has been moved, not just to let you out, but to let the world see the miracle I performed within that season of darkness. The removal of the stone is a powerful, visual declaration that the period of death and burial is over. The situation that seemed hopeless is now resurrected, alive, and ready to walk into its fulfillment. The breakthrough is not partial, it is total and complete. You need to shift your vision immediately. Stop mourning the situation as if the stone were still in place. Look into the tomb and see the empty grave, the evidence of my irresistible, life-giving power. I want you to look around your life today, specifically at the area where you felt the most intense hopelessness, and recognize that the impossibility has vanished. The stone that blocked your vision and sealed your fate has been displaced by my command. This is not a metaphor, this is a spiritual reality I am enacting in your physical life. My intervention is undeniable. The struggle you endured in the waiting was necessary to appreciate the magnitude of the stone's removal. Had the stone been small, your faith would have remained small. But because the obstacle was immense, the miracle of its removal will be a towering testament to my glory. The stone is rolled away. Now, move past the empty tomb and step into the sunlight of your resurrection. Your waiting was not wasted, it was the necessary context for the most magnificent, life-changing miracle I am manifesting for you now. Believe it, receive it, and proclaim it. There is a form of spiritual bondage that binds the heart and hinders the soul's capacity to receive and advance, a chain of past mistakes, toxic relationships, fear, or self-sabotage. You have felt the weight of it, the cold restriction around your ankles, preventing you from running the race I set before you. I tell you now, by the power of my authority, the chain that held you broke this very second. This is not a slow process of detachment. This is an immediate act of divine deliverance. The chain that represented your deepest, longest-held struggle, the pattern of failure, the ancestral curse, the crippling fear, is snapped, released, and utterly destroyed. I did not just loosen the chain, I broke it into fragments. You are free. The weight you felt lift from your spirit as you heard this word is the confirmation of your liberation. The enemy's hold on your future is shattered, and the limitations placed on your potential are revoked. Your waiting period was an act of endurance, but now my response is an act of sovereign power, setting the captive free. The reason I am doing this now is to demonstrate that your new chapter is a chapter of absolute freedom, unburdened by the past. You cannot walk into the abundance I have prepared for you while still dragging the dead weight of the old season. Therefore, I command your full release. This means you must participate in your freedom, refuse to pick up the pieces of the broken chain. Stop rehearsing the failures of the past. Stop speaking the language of bondage. Your mind must align with the new reality of your liberation. The enemy may try to convince you that the chain is still there, showing you old wounds and old temptations, but you must look at the ground and see only the broken fragments, the proof of my power. Your waiting was not wasted, because the chain could only be broken at the appointed time, under the specific conditions I orchestrated. You are not only set free, but you are also strengthened against future bondage. Walk forward with the swiftness and confidence of one who is delivered, for the chain that held you broke this very second, and your era of absolute freedom begins now. You have stood patiently before barriers that refuse to budge, presenting your request repeatedly, only to be met with a cold, unforgiving surface. You felt the exhaustion of persistent effort with no immediate reward, wondering if your labor was in vain. I want to assure you that every prayer, every knock, and every patient plea was recorded, and the time for persistence is over. The door you knocked on is finally wide open. This is not a slight opening, a peek into the opportunity, or a reluctant yield. This is a deliberate, full opening, signifying that you have complete, unfettered access to the next stage of your destiny. The door that was once locked due to circumstances, lack of resources, or spiritual resistance has now yielded to my command. Your waiting was essential because the door needed to be opened not just by human effort, but by my sovereign will, ensuring that the opportunity that awaits is stable, secured, and perfectly aligned with your calling. The moment you step through this open door, you will find provision, favor, and clarity that were absent just a moment ago. The struggle to gain entrance is finished. Now, your focus must shift from knocking to walking. Stop standing at the threshold, paralyzed by the memory of the long wait. The open door demands immediate action and confidence. The world may have told you that the opportunity was gone, that the door was sealed forever, but I am showing you the visible evidence of my faithfulness. The door is open for the promotion you sought, the relationship you prayed for, the healing you needed, and the resources required for your mission. The full access granted to you through this open door is a direct result of your steadfast faith during the period of resistance. Your waiting was not wasted, it was the required endurance for me to grant you this massive opportunity. Now, I commission you to walk through it without hesitation, without looking back, and without fear of the unknown. The way has been cleared, the path has been illuminated, and the door you knocked on for so long is finally wide open, marking the true beginning of your accelerated future. The journey through the waiting season leaves indelible marks, scars of battles fought, losses endured, and hopes wounded. The world sees these scars as signs of weakness, evidence of past failures, or reasons for caution. But I want to elevate your understanding of those experiences right now. Your scars are now proof of my faithfulness. I am transforming every mark of injury into a badge of honor, every memory of pain into a powerful testament. The scars you carry are not reminders of what you lost, they are undeniable evidence of what you survived. They prove that I sustained you, protected you, and carried you through the very fire that was meant to destroy you. Your waiting was not wasted because those scars give weight, authenticity, and profound authority to the message of hope you are now commissioned to share. No one can ever question your testimony, because the evidence of your struggle is visible on your soul. The scars are proof that my grace was sufficient in your weakest moments, that my power was perfected in your vulnerability, and that my promise of deliverance is absolute. You are called to use these marks not to dwell in past pain, but to proclaim future victory. When you share your story, your scars will be the things that connect you most deeply to others who are still in the wilderness you just left. They will recognize the authenticity of your journey and find the courage to hold on. The enemy sought to use your suffering to silence you. I am using your scars to commission you as a powerful voice of hope. Therefore, do not hide the marks of your journey. Wear them as evidence of my constant presence and as an eternal testament to my protective love. The pain is now redeemed, the struggle is now justified, and the endurance is now rewarded. Your scars are not wounds, they are the undeniable, tangible proof of my enduring faithfulness in your life. Step into your new chapter knowing that the past is fully redeemed, and the future is secured by the very evidence you carry. Your waiting was not wasted, it created a testimony that will change the lives of thousands. You have spent the entire season of waiting bearing the heavy, unnecessary weight of worry, fear, and self-doubt. These burdens were the bags you carried, packed with the trauma of past failures and the anxiety of future outcomes. Now that I have intervened and the period of delay is over, the first step into your breakthrough requires a deliberate, powerful act of release. I command you, drop your bags, you no longer carry that burden. The burdens you carried were not assigned by me, they were self-imposed by a spirit of fear and control. You held on to them because they made you feel prepared for the worst, but in reality, they only weighed you down and blocked your ability to receive the new, light reality I have created for you. The chains are broken, the stone is rolled away, and the door is open. If you walk into your promised land still dragging the baggage of the wilderness, you will contaminate your future with the fear of your past. Therefore, you must make a conscious decision to leave the heavy, familiar weight behind. Drop the bag of worry about finances, because I am your provision. Drop the bag of guilt over past mistakes, because I am your forgiveness. Drop the bag of resentment toward those who failed you, because I am your vindication. The period of carrying is over, the period of receiving is here. This release is an act of profound faith. It is acknowledging that the outcome is secured by my power, not by your anxiety. My response to your waiting is total and complete, and it includes the peace that passes all understanding. You cannot move forward with the swiftness and grace required for this new chapter if your hands are full of old troubles. Leave them behind. Look back at the bags, the frustration, the disappointment, the fear, and recognize them as relics of a past that no longer defines you. Your waiting was not wasted, but the burden you carried during the waiting must not accompany you into your breakthrough. Step forward with empty hands and an empty heart, ready to be filled with the goodness and abundance I have prepared for you. This is the moment of your final release. Drop your bags, you are free, and you no longer carry that burden. The end of the waiting season requires a revolutionary shift in your posture and your mindset. You must discard the attitude of the passive recipient and adopt the stance of the active heir. This is why expectancy is your new position. Walk into your blessing. Expectancy is not wishful thinking. It is tenacious, affirmative faith that sees the answer before it is visible and acts accordingly. It is the spiritual posture that honors my word and validates the immediacy of my intervention. You spent the last season praying for a breakthrough. You must spend this season walking in the reality of the breakthrough. Your waiting was not wasted, because the delay built the spiritual capacity necessary for this bold, new posture. You are now equipped with the endurance and faith to walk where you previously could only kneel. Walking into your blessing means preparing space for it. It means speaking the language of gratitude and provision, not the language of lack and delay. It means making physical, tangible preparations for the fulfillment of the promise, creating the room, making the call, signing the paperwork, all before the final evidence arrives. Your movement is a declaration that you believe now more than you believe the inertia of your past. Stop looking backward at the silence of the wilderness. Fix your eyes forward on the undeniable manifestation of my response. Expectation is your new command center, and from this place, you will direct your steps toward the abundance I have released. The King has responded, the door is open, and the burdens are dropped. Now, the only thing remaining is for you to move your feet. Walk with authority, walk with confidence, and walk with the knowledge that the inheritance is secured by the one who commanded the universe into existence. Expectancy is your new position, and it is the key that unlocks the door to your abundant future. Walk into your blessing and leave the timidity of the waiting season behind you forever. Human nature tends to limit the divine response to the size of the original request. We pray for a solution to a problem, and we expect only a solution, forgetting that my capacity is limitless and my response is always designed to go beyond your immediate need. Hear this powerful assurance: the answer will exceed your original prayer. The delay you experienced was necessary precisely because the solution I prepared for you was too large for your initial request. You asked for provision, I prepared abundance. You asked for healing, I prepared complete restoration and vibrant health. You asked for a closed door to open, I prepared a highway of favor and opportunities you never imagined. The answer you receive now is not merely a repair job, it is a total, comprehensive upgrade to your life and your destiny. This is the principle of my nature. I deal in overflow, not just sufficiency. I deal in glory, not just basic necessity. The waiting was not wasted, because the struggle you endured increased the measure of blessing you are now able to receive and steward. The greater the test, the greater the testimony, the longer the wait, the larger the response. Therefore, you must expand your vision immediately. Stop limiting my power to the narrow confines of your original expectation. The answer is coming in a measure that will astonish you, your family, and your critics. The breakthrough will not just solve the past problem, it will establish a new, higher standard for your future. The key to receiving this overflow is to expand your capacity for gratitude and wonder. Expect the unexpected. Expect the impossible. Expect the answer to come with supplementary blessings that address underlying needs you didn't even know how to articulate in your prayers. My response is full, generous, and overflowing. The answer will exceed your original prayer. Prepare your life for the magnificent, abundant overflow that only the King of Glory can provide. This is the recompense for your faithful waiting. The defining characteristic of your new chapter will be the sound that proceeds from your lips. You entered this season of waiting with a language of lament, burden, and questioning. But you are exiting this season with a divine melody of triumph and testimony. I declare over you, this is your new song, testify to the unwasted wait. Your story is now commissioned to be a witness to my relentless faithfulness. The song is not about the pain, it is about the power that brought you through the pain. The lyrics will detail the moments of doubt, the struggles of the silence, and the magnitude of the final, undeniable intervention. Your waiting was not wasted, because the duration of the delay created the depth and resonance of your testimony. A quick answer provides a shallow story, but your long endurance has produced a saga of faith that will change the lives of thousands. Your new song is the spiritual proof that I am a rewarder of those who diligently seek me, and that I never abandon my children in the wilderness. You must sing this psalm loudly, publicly, and relentlessly. This new song is your weapon against future attacks, for the enemy cannot stand against the sound of your redeemed experience. It is your invitation to others, drawing them out of their own seasons of waiting by showing them the visible evidence of your breakthrough. You must speak the language of harvest, the language of freedom, and the language of victory. Every time you share your story, you are reinforcing the foundation of your own blessing and magnifying my name. Let the world hear that the time you felt you lost was actually the time I used to secure your testimony. This is the purpose of your endurance. Sing your new song, testify to the unwasted wait, and watch as your voice becomes a beacon of hope for all those who are still waiting on their divine intervention. Your testimony is your treasure. The final, absolute guarantee of your future is the certainty of my enduring, active presence in your life. You have been focused on the gift of the breakthrough, but the true, ultimate reward is the assurance of the giver. I promise you, the King himself is walking with you into the future. You are not embarking on this new chapter of blessing alone or unguided. The one who commanded the stone to roll away, the one who broke your chains, and the one who orchestrated this perfect timing is now your constant companion and guide. My presence is your provision, your protection, and your permanent compass. Your waiting was not wasted, because the reliance you developed on my character during the delay ensures that you will not stray from my path in the season of prosperity. You learned that I am your true source, not the gift itself. Therefore, walk forward with absolute courage and zero fear. The King walks with you, which means no door is too strong to open, no obstacle is too great to overcome, and no enemy can stand against your destiny. This is the promise that settles all fear and silences all doubt. I will personally guide your steps into the fullness of your inheritance. I will advise you in moments of decision, protect you in moments of vulnerability, and empower you in moments of service. Look around you and recognize the shift. You are no longer walking by human strength or limited resources. You are walking by the unstoppable power of the King. This is your final commission. Step into the future with your eyes fixed on me, your new song on your lips, and your heart fully open to the abundant life I have prepared for you. The King himself is walking with you, and your journey of breakthrough is secured forever.